is a creative and cultural consultancy. It's a small group. We do projects with clients, and we also self-initiate projects. My background is industrial design. I've been teaching for about 20 years, mainly at postgrad level, but in the last few years, and I'll talk about it, also getting into secondary schools. And from now on uses curating, research. We love data, but we also love prototyping things. So we move between kind of analysis into strategy, and we try things out through projects. One of the projects that we were involved leading was the Power of Making exhibition for the V&A and the Crafts Council. That at the time was really hard to get the steering group to agree to use the term making. It wasn't popular, and took about 3 months to discuss why making can be the thing we all share, what all these different communities of practice might relate to. It's also the thing that people have forgotten they have. It's humanity's most precious resource, and we need to remind people and get people back into it. The exhibition itself was, to this date, the most popular free exhibition at the V&A Museum, 320,000 people. And it wasn't about specific talented authors. It was about the knowledge of making. From that, we also had in the exhibition a makerspace, a kind of tinkering space, and which ran a program. This is an area that we work with a lot over the last 10 years, involved in setting up or supporting people who set up makerspaces in public arenas and professional arenas. So the most probably interesting one to talk about is the Central Research Laboratory, which is both a kind of regeneration project, but it's also a heritage project. It's in the old EMI factory in West London. And the property developers, you and I, previously Cathedral Group, wanted a makerspace, but they didn't know what type and for who. And our work was to kind of look at how the heritage is rolled out into contemporary relevance with digital manufacturing of physical products to kind of complement all the digital stuff that was happening in East London. And the Central Research Laboratory has become an accelerator now within that development. Earlier today, we heard of one of the startups that came out of it, and Giotto is just now about to enter their manufacturing. So it was very much about the business of making. And to understand that, we looked at the ecosystem of makers working in their sheds, in their kitchens, in hacker spaces, in maker spaces. And then usually what happens is that they go off, or their idea is taken and they drop out of the UK. And so this idea was to identify this stepping stone and keep people here, not just creating the value, but also capturing it, going into digital batch production. This was only possible because of the partnership model with Brunel University, private investors, and local government. So part of this was to design a new type of partnership, which I think is kind of what, to some extent, you're talking about, and is the way forward, I think, in which maker movement is, of course, not a thing that can be by itself. It's one of the elements, one of the aspects that I think can be useful in a partnership. Finally, I'd like to talk about the education program that we've developed. It's called Fixperts. It started as a volunteering organization, a not-for-profit, inviting and exciting people who make to make and fix something for someone else and share the story of that fix online. So this has been going on for 4 years, but in the last year, we've also started sharing these. It's open source, all the guidelines are downloadable. It's happening in all these different countries with people just stepping up and doing it. In the last year, we've been working, and thanks to a lot of support from organizations and foundations like Comino and RSA and CLOR, we've managed to gather a new direction, which will be to offer Fixperts for teachers in schools. And this new website is coming out now, the fixperts.org. And after trialing in schools, we've also teamed up with an exam board to really address what the future skills are, to address them in schools, to look at problem solving, to look at critical thinking and creativity. This is from the Future of Jobs report, the World Economic Forum. And I think seeing those three at the top really shows that some of the maker culture, maker movement values are beginning to be noticed and seen as valuable for future employers. And in fact, today is the first time that we can announce that Fixperts will be part of a STEM technical award, and it's sitting on the Department of Education's table. It was supposed to be launched or released or at least approved, but the elections came in, so we're waiting now. But it is the first step in which we are kind of going with maker education, maker values into a situation where children can do technical and social and storytelling, which are the things that I think really some of the valuable impacts from maker culture.